to be at the next big game or concert? Well, we're giving away tickets to the Outlaw Music Festival, Santana, Guns N' Roses, Chris Stapleton, and plenty more. Enter today at KFAN.com keyword contest.
This is getting too controversial for me, Tim.
That's interesting.
I've had several people text me and say, Timberwolves are on local channel 11 tonight.
Oh.
That's the way it should be. As Carly Simon once sang sung.
So I'm not denying that.
Right, no, I know.
But I had originally, because I have my Xfinity app and I have my TV guide. And for me, when you go to channel 811, which is the HD channel, it says it has Philadelphia 76ers at New York Knicks at 7 o'clock. So that might be wrong. The computer might be wrong. The app might be wrong. But on mine, it says NBC is the Eastern Conference game and NBC Sports Network is the Timberwolves game.
Well, let's see. Yeah, see, why are people steering me the wrong way? Because now I go to care11tonight.com. 4:30 Jeopardy. Love me some Jeopardy. Care 11 News at 5. Then the NBC Nightly News with Tom Lott. Boy, it's been a long time. The last time I watched NBC Evening News, I think Huntley Brinkley were the anchors. Then they have 7 o'clock NBA playoff game, Philadelphia 76ers at New York Knickerbockers. This says tonight it's no mention of the Wolves game on Channel 11. There's no way you're not having the Wolves game in this town. This has to be wrong. This can't be right. This is after the playoff game. You got Care News at 11, then you got Jimmy Fallon immediately following.
The league shouldn't have to make it this hard.
It's greed. I mean, look at the NFL. Somebody told me that if you wanted to watch every single NFL game last year, you had to pay like $1,000 in order, because you've got to pay for, Sunday ticket on YouTube. You got to pay for your cable bill. You have to pay this, that. By the time of it, by the time you get done with it, it's a big chunk of change out of your pocket.
Well, the other part about this too is it's an 8:30 start tonight. When I first read 8:30 start, to me that means doubleheader. But it's not a doubleheader because the Eastern Conference game's starting at 7. So why are you starting us so late if you're going to put us on a different channel anyway?
I mean, I'm just going with what when I Google programming for Care 11, this is what it shows me. This is what, and maybe it's not right here. God, this thing is just crazy. Yeah, it says Eastern Conference semifinals. Game 1, 76ers against New York. Well, nobody here cares about that game. Who cares about the 76ers versus... And there's nothing we can do about it. This one says, hold on. This text message says, unlike the NFL, no one watches NHL games unless their local team is playing. If they gave away the local markets on free TV, they'd have nothing to sell to the streamers. Yeah, I guess we're trying to talk basketball right now, though. And then I've had several people email and text me about something called a VC box, VSEE box. A VC box solves all these issues. Someone sent me an email that says, you get this box. I'll read it to you. I hear these miracle stories all the time about how you can find TV and you can get all the TV you want for $20. And I just don't know how much of this is true. This one says, Comment, if you want to watch all sports, shows, movies, get a VC box. They are $300 to $400, and there isn't a monthly fee. Is it illegal?
Just a one-time purchase? And you get it forever?
That's what it says.
That doesn't sound right.
Well, that's why I always question when people tell me these things. Here's what I'll do. I'm gonna ask VC box. The VC Box V3 Plus is an Android 11-based 8K streaming media player, offering blah, 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 blah. Well, then it just goes into technical stuff. Yeah, Pros, the performance, ample storage, and easy setup over the air. Cons, remote requires batteries, and the device does not officially support 8K playback despite advertising. The VC Box V3 Plus operates as a versatile Android box designed for users seeking a customized all-in-one cord cutter streaming service. It's too confusing to watch anything on television anymore unless you're, especially if you're a boomer like me. Here's another. Common, the VC 6 box is true, and it's great. That's all I have now.
Is it legal?
Well, that's what I don't know. Because I've had buddies tell me, I know a friend of mine, he hooks up this box and it's illegal, but he gets everything. Just got a text message from a friend of mine that says, I have a VC box. Get pretty much anything. Works well. You're a bit behind actual time, but if you're not looking at your phone, it's great. Why don't more people know about this? Common, the VC box works, but is only live, no recording or watching after the game is over. It's legal. You can find it at Walmart. It's legit. All you do is have one. It works. Completely legal. What do you have? You have breaking news for us?
Shams Charania and John Krasinski reporting that Minnesota's Anthony Edwards is expected to play in Game 1 against the San Antonio Spurs, barring any setback pregame. Okay. Just 9 days removed from his left knee injury.
So my source is wrong. My source said look for him at Target on Friday.
Well, now Krasinski did say Anthony Edwards is planning to play tonight in Game 1. The exact role is still being discussed. But he's ready to give it a go.
And as much like this one says the streaming box is illegal technically. Is what someone says. Illegal technically. Edwards and DiVincenzo seem to be kind of cut from the same cloth. That's why DiVincenzo hadn't missed a game all season. No load management. No paternity leave. I don't know if he needed it. You don't see that happen much in the NBA anymore. That's why those Iron Man records like Ripken. How many games did he play? 3,000 games in a row, never missing a game. Now, there are some that would say he might have wanted to take a handful of days off because he played through horrible slumps too.
Yeah, and by the end of it, they were only playing him just strictly for the streak. Like he wasn't worthy of being on the field that much.
That's exactly right. Yeah, see, here's somebody else is saying the VC box is definitely illegal. Then another one says, you need one that is unlocked. What the hell does unlocked mean? Well, how can somebody sell an illegal device legally? They say they're at Walmart. Here's another. I believe the box they're referring to is in fact legal, but the connection is illegal. It's a gray area. You are relying on a third party to connect you into Netflix, Peacock, etc., into their subscriptions. So it sounds sort of like, to me, Tenneby. Now, back in the olden days, before they had pay-per-view, you weren't even, when were you born again, 79?
1979.
So, like, you were like a year old when Roberto Duran was going to fight Sugar Ray Leonard for the very first time. Okay? And they weren't going to show that game on over the air. There's not enough money to be made on it for the fighters for what they were asking for. So they would have, there was no such thing as pay-per-view on your TV where you just press a button, do you agree to pay $79.95? Yes, and all of a sudden, enjoy your program. You had to get up out of your chair, get in your car, and drive down to the old Metropolitan Sports Stadium and buy a ticket to get inside. And you would sit, sort of like these viewing parties you see, like last night. They had Montreal. How about Montreal? They advanced to the semifinals. They had 9 shots on goal.
Yes.
They only had 9. They won 2-1. They had 9 shots. How is that even possible? How do you win a game? Well, I guess you score 2 of your 9, and your goaltender only gives up 1. That's just the opposite of what we saw last night. But so they have these viewing parties, right? There's all these Habs fans. They're at the Fabulous Forum or wherever they watch their hockey in Montreal, and they're watching it there. So this was the same thing. You would pay the money, and you would go sit. The guy would be up there with us. So they have 3 huge TV screens that were about the size of a drive-in movie, right? And there'd be nothing but a test pattern up there. Then all of a sudden you'd be sitting there having a beer waiting, and there's a guy up on the roof, I'm assuming, and he's turning this satellite dish to try to hook up with the signal, and finally, there it is. All of a sudden you see that we're going to have some preliminary go on, and everybody just starts cheering, and now we're watching the prelim fights. And every once in a while it would go out, it would get staticky and such like that, but that's just the way you did it back in the olden days. That's basically what you're doing with one of these VC boxes. It's just, you're just hoping to lock into some programming, and it's illegal. I don't want any part of it. Wild today, right?
Yeah, that's Wild Today, brought to you by Chanhassen Dinner Theater. The Wild lost 9-6 in Colorado in Game 1 of their series last night. Cale Makar scored twice for the Avs. Devin Taves had a goal and 3 assists. Jesper Wallstedt made just 34 saves, and he talked about it here.
If we score 5 goals, we should win a lot of the games. Today was a rare night where they got 8. Yeah, that happens. But just got to flush that and let that go and move on to the next one.
Here's the head coach, John Hines.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot to unpack in this one. You know, it was a bit of a helter-skelter game, and obviously you can tell by the score. So, we'll take a look at some things and take some lessons out of this one, be ready for Game 2.
Yeah, Game 2 between the Wild and Avalanche tomorrow night, 7 p.m. in Colorado. That was Wild Today, brought to you by Chanhassen Dinner Theater. Buy tickets to Guys and Dolls at chanhassendt.com. By the way, the Fan and BigDeck.com want to give you a shot to win bonus bucks with our national cash contest. Just enter the keyword BILLS at KFAN.com now for your shot at winning. That keyword is BILLS. Enter now at KFAN.com.
Find that funny?
Carboni's Pizzeria is ready to run the floor for your Game 1 playoff party tonight. Swing by one of their 30-plus locations, grab championship-level pizza, and get set for a deep playoff run. Find your nearest Carboni's at carbonispizza.com.
It's okay. At the end of the day, it's not that big of a deal. But if Tita Green involved Paul Allen, Dan Barrero, or anybody at the Power Trip Morning Show, they would tell Fallness, Micheletti, who else is involved in Beyond the Pond? It used to be you. You gave it up, right?
It's Fallness, Micheletti, and then Brett Blakemore produces it.
Okay. If they would say, well, you guys just have to do it at a different time. You have to come in. You'll start at noon. You'll do it 3:00 in the afternoon. But it's because it's me. It's probably some envy and jealousy that, of all the other people on the air staff, I'm the only person that has radio programming experience. I programmed radio stations before, music stations. I've never programmed a sports station, but what's there to do here? You throw the 4 best shows in all of sports talk radio on one after another, just go knock yourselves out.
You just have to turn the light on.
You just have to turn the light on here. There's nothing to program in this place. Trust me, I understand. I've done it before. The Toes character, he's haunting us. Well, because last night he was brilliant. When he played for the Blackhawks, I mean, he tortured. He made your teeth chatter. That's the that famous soundbite we used to play.
He made me say this.
The Blackhawks.
And now he's
torturing us again.
Yeah.
And he's up there in age. I mean, that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
And he switched positions. He's playing defense.
Now he's playing defense.
Yeah.
You talk about, now that's, because, we've talked about, I've teased you before about you have a right-handed shooter on that side and a left-handed shooter on that, but that's even more amazing that, not only can you play offense, but you can go, you can go from a wing or a center and then move yourself to a,
guy's a winner.
Yeah.
Played his hockey up at North Dakota State.
Hey, gentlemen, boy, it sounds like you guys have some pretty tough lives. I don't know how you do it. Good luck. Have a good day. What does that mean? He's upset about something. What does he mean?
What else? Pondering where to watch the game?
Yeah, I just don't. I think that's we're kind of speaking for everybody, I think. You're
the voice of the common man.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to go down that road, if that's what you'd like to do, anything we talk about sports related really has nothing, when you look at the real world and keeping a job and paying bills and going through the trials and tribulations that life levies at everybody. It's like, well, we're just talking about the TV thing. And if he means I have it tough because I don't have to use a beast, well, most people don't. I think most people have some sort of, most people, not everybody, but have some sort of audio-visual delivery system, whether it's cable, satellite, just rabbit ears, streaming services. I don't even know what the hell a streaming service does. I don't know how it works. Do you have any idea? I don't. I just know that you plug in and you turn it on and there it is. I've had DirecTV for years.
Just think about it like as an app for your television.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
From the 651, this is a different Toes, you idiots. I Googled expert opinions on Timberwolves versus Spurs. Here's what pops up. Experts heavily favor the San Antonio Spurs over the Minnesota Timberwolves in their playoff series, with the Spurs winning the season series. Predictions suggest a dominant Spurs victory, potentially 4-1. They're doubting this, tend to be this. Who are these so-called experts?
Above average at that.
And it says predictions suggest a dominant Spurs victory due to their elite defense, with one expert stating the Wolves have no chance if Anthony Edwards is out. And I guess I would tend to agree with that, though I thought with Anthony Edwards and Roberto DiVincenzo out, that his name's not Roberto.
Dante.
I was thinking Roberto DiVincenzo's the golfer who signed the wrong scorecard at the Masters and lost. Got my DiVincenzo's. Which is worse? Blowing your, what was it, his Achilles and being out for a year, or signing the wrong scorecard at the Masters and losing your green jacket? You can come back from the snapped Achilles. He'll come back. DiVincenzo will play again. Roberto will never get a green jacket. I think that's worse. I thought they didn't. I didn't think they had zero chance against the Nuggets. I've doubted the club. I have to admit. I mean, I thought Denver would win the series, and I gotta say, Tenneby, if I was a betting man, and I'm not, I'd probably take the Spurs. But with the way they play now, these are two different animals. The Spurs and the Nuggets. But I don't know if I would still pick Spurs, but I don't know if I would heavily favor the Spurs. You, Tenneby, do you venture a guess?
Well, one, I just want to say in the Denver series, they had like a list of like 15 experts at ESPN.com who predict the series. All of them picked Denver.
Every one of them?
And they all were wrong.
Yeah.
I think part of that is the Wolves are so kind of mediocre in the regular season that then people think that's the type of team they are.
And they're moody.
But they are different in the playoffs than they are in the regular season. They've proven that over the last 3 years. So I throw all that out the window. I think this matchup's going to be a little bit more challenging than Denver. Just the Wemby is a matchup problem. De'Aaron Fox might be a little bit of a matchup problem. But at usually in the NBA and the NHL, a lot of these teams that are maybe eventually going to be great, they get in the playoffs and they don't take a deep run because they just don't have the playoff experience.
Right.
And I think that might be where San Antonio's at, whereas the Wolves know how to win playoff series, at least until the conference finals, but they've gone through a couple deep runs. They just beat Denver without some key players. The Wolves team is deep.
It sounds like you're picking the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Oh my gosh, you are above average.
If you can tell me that Anthony Edwards' knee is good enough for him to hold up and be a normal Anthony Edwards in the series, I would take the Wolves. I would. Now, I will backtrack on that if Ant looks like he's hobbling a little bit or if he's just not himself. But if Anthony Edwards is himself, I think the playoff experience is going to be the difference, and I'll take the Wolves.
Communist 2026, do you still drive an Oldsmobile? Get with the times. Don't you watch shows, Game of Thrones, The Pit? No, why would I watch? Aren't you balanced and cultured? I balance my life out in other ways. I play a little bit of golf, and I play a little bit of golf, and I play a little bit of golf. I like quality time with my family. To me, and if you like watching, and I'll occasionally, and usually when I do watch TV, it is one of it's a boomer generation show from when I grew up. I'll watch some Jeegans. I'll tune a little Hogan's Heroes, a little All in the Family. No, I wouldn't watch Game of Thrones. Why would I watch Game of Thrones? What a waste of time. There's other things I can be doing. I could be reading. I like to read. I'm a reader. Everyone these days has Prime, Netflix, Max, etc. Just get a smart TV. I have a smart TV. I have a couple of them, and I have all that. I have Peacock, Prime, Netflix. I just use them for sports, or my kids watch them. I just don't have any interest in. TV is it's a couch potato activity. To sit in front of the TV and just watch, and look, there's nothing wrong with this. It takes every kind of people to make what life's about. Different strokes for different folks. I just don't like watching a lot of TV. I'd much rather read. I'm a historian. I like to read about history.
You'd rather do Wordle on your phone.
I like doing Wordle as well.
Yeah. I
also like doing Shuffle-O. And I don't care that Shuffle-O has a timer. Have you been playing Shuffle-O? I told you about Shuffle-O, right? Do you play it now? I
didn't know it had a timer.
Oh, they timed how long it takes you to play. It'll tell you after you're done. And it's supposed to be, so that everything's a race. Everything's a competition, right? And it's like, it's like when I play golf, if I'm in a foursome, twosome, three, whatever the case may be, most people that play golf like to have and if you want to, if like it was you, me, Walls, and Fallness playing golf, and they said, let's play a little game, $5 here, $10 there, I would do it, but that doesn't enhance the experience for me at all. I rarely play I never offer up to play for money. I just like playing the game of
I'm
golf.
not dumb enough to play for money with my game.
Well, that's true too.
Yeah.
But I just don't. That doesn't really. Here's one that says, "There's a reason you pioneered the esoteric approach. You're a different thinker than the norm." And I am. I don't want to spend time watching television shows. My wife. This is what I say to my wife. We'll settle in on Friday or Saturday night. Settle in on the couch, maybe with a crossword puzzle, read some news stories. My wife likes to watch some of those, what do they call them, where you watch video rolls or whatever, right?
Reels?
Yeah, reels. Dog riding on the top of a car spinning a Frisbee, right? People like watching that kind of stuff. I don't know why they like that, but I guess it's cute.
That would go viral, by the way. Deuce
was watching yesterday a turtle eating a piece of apple. Somebody was feeding a turtle apple by hand, and he goes, "Oh, look at this, cute! Look at this." I said, okay, I can close my eyes and imagine what that looks like, but I'll always look at my wife and I'll go, "You want to go out clubbing? Well, you could go down to Minneapolis and do some bar hopping, because some people like to do that. They like bar hopping, but I don't, and so no, I don't. I'm comfortable with who I am, where I've been, where I'm going, where I'm at. Alec Lewis writes for the Athletic.
If your wife is sitting watching TV, would she be a couch potato?
Wait, hold on. Hey-oh. She'll watch sometimes the Food Network. Deuce and I
it's the last network I watch.
Yeah. Deuce and I, if you like game shows, the game shows, they have a show called Chopped. So they'll bring in 3 professional chefs, right? And they'll go, you have to make 3 different courses. You get eliminated one at a time. Then they have the expert chefs, the people that, they're restaurateurs, they're millionaires, right? They've all done very, very well in their lives. And so what they'll do is they'll say, you have to make a dish, and they'll include 2 or 3 ingredients you have to use, and then the rest of the kitchen, whatever you want it. They say, you must use dill pickles, pumpkin, and squid. Ready, go. And so you have to have those 3 ingredients have to be in your dish, and then whatever you want. Then the chefs will taste them, and they'll go, I really liked what you did here, but it was a little too gummy, a little too sweet. And they'll dump somebody. Then they go to the next. That's for the appetizer. Then they do the entree, and then they do the dessert. So if you like competition shows, that's about the only one on Food Network I would watch. You're right.
Is it Cake on Food Network? Or is that on a different?
I don't know.
I've seen commercials for that before, but I have zero desire to watch it.
Yeah, I don't. Like I say, I don't dive too deep into the TV thing. But Alec Lewis writes Vikings football for the Athletic. He did a piece, Vikings post NFL draft depth chart. More athleticism, but where do they still need to add? I would suggest offensive line, defensive line, linebackers, secondary. Wide receivers, running back. The quarterback room looks really good. But he's got the different rooms. Now, he starts out with the quarterbacks, tend to be. And I think, while, of course, it hasn't been announced, nobody that is currently employed with the Vikings in a decision-making position has said Kyler Murray will be the starting quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings this year. But Alec Lewis has the quarterback room. Quarterback. He says starter, Kyler Murray.
Oh my gosh.
Depth, J.J. McCarthy and Carson Wentz, and you're digging down real deep when you talk about depth if you have to settle for one of those guys. Others on the roster, Max Brosmer. Max Brosmer. While nobody with the Vikings has announced Kyler Murray is going to start, I think something dramatic would have to happen in J.J. McCarthy's progress, or Kyler Murray was busy playing video games instead of studying the play sheet.
Or he got hurt.
To not have Kyler Murray start, right? He'll be the starting quarterback week run. Again, barring major injury, off-field issues, or he's just awful for some reason. He's the starting quarterback, right?
I'd be shocked if he wasn't.
Yeah. And while he won the Heisman, right? I think his rookie year, he was really good. He's had moments. He's been okay. So, and for the price we could get him for, I think everybody agrees what he got to lose, right? And I think he might. I don't know how he'll fit in with the system. He's more of that. He's. It's not.
That's
really,
the biggest question.
Yeah, it's not really the way his strengths as a quarterback don't really fit the system that Kevin O'Connell likes to run offensively. But as we've talked about, I would think it would be a little bit easier for the coach to tweak his approach to how he wants to attack defenses rather than making a quarterback go, you've been a guy that's, you've worked out of the shotgun for most of your career and you run a lot, you make a lot of plays with your feet. Well, we want you to work from under center and we don't want you to scramble a lot. You don't change people too much. I don't think that, players have certain strengths and certain weaknesses. But if Murray's ineffective, I don't really like our quarterback room much. But you could probably say that about most teams around the league, right? I just, there's not a lot there that really gets me excited. I guess what I'm trying to say is I feel like if the Vikings are going to be a legitimate playoff contending team and not only, have a chance to qualify for the place, but make the playoffs in advance, I think Murray's got to be really good. I don't see Wentz, McCarthy, or Brosmer being that guy. Would you agree with that, or is it? I mean, I know we don't have a crystal ball, but I've not. From what I saw from Wentz last year, and I know he didn't have a lot of help, but there's a reason he was sitting on the couch last year when they called him. He was not on a roster. We didn't have to trade a draft pick for him. We just called him and said, "Would you like to play?" And he came in. He was all right.
He was all right.
And he got beat up really bad. I mean, I will admire this. He's tough. He's tough as nails. Mm-hmm. He had every body part on his torso was broken or battered in one way or the other. And I know we've seen a couple of, very few, but we've seen a few moments from McCarthy, but nothing that I go, you know what, I really think this guy could really put it together this year. And then Brosmer really had a tough go of it. Really tough go of it. There wasn't many games where he did very well at all. So I think the Vikings go while Murray goes. If Murray's mediocre, we're in trouble. I don't think that's a stretch. I think most, but maybe McCarthy will.
Any team your quarterback play is.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
Well, but the funny thing is they were. Did we finish 9-8 last year? 9-8 with flat out awful quarterback play. So Murray doesn't even technically have to be brilliant. If he's competent, the entire offense will level up. And to you're asking about Kyler earlier of whether he's the starter or not. I mentioned it. The Vikings haven't officially gone with it, but KOC I think slipped in that. I think it was an interview with PA where he was talking about in the offense, the other opposing team they have to factor in Jefferson and Addison and Kyler and his ability to run, and then he tried to and he realized he slipped and whatever other quarterbacks we have.
Right.
Which to me that signaled you're starting Kyler Murray.
Yeah, I think you're
or Kyle Murphy, one of the two.
This text message, getting back, I think people would rather talk about the Food Network right now on the show Chopped. This one says, food show with 3 10-a-B type picky eater judges would be interesting. That would. Because none of those people would get by with anything they put together. 10-a-B.
I've told you that I am fourth pickiest at the Fan.
Yeah.
There are 3 that are pickier than me here.
Blake Moore,
so maybe the
Cove,
4 of us should have Blake Moore, Cove, and Halvey.
Oh,
those 3 are worse than I am. As bad as I am. So maybe the 4 of us could do our own little panel.
My wife got me kind of hooked on the Holiday Baking Championship show on the Food Network, something we will watch. It has 3 judges like Chopped. However, tell Tana that my favorite show is The Challenge. What is The Challenge?
That is one of my favorite shows of all time. It's an MTV thing.
Oh. What is that?
Well, it started off as a Real World Road Rules Challenge. Real World and Road Rules are both reality shows. So the challenge is they took all these people from those shows and basically just I would call it half athletic competition, half kind of like Survivor, where you're scheming to survive. So there's a mental, psychological element to it. There's an athletic element to it, and you're trying to be the last one standing. But this is before any of all those, before The Amazing Race, before Survivor. The challenge was before all of them.
Common, why don't you just say TV doesn't turn your crank? It doesn't. It just doesn't do it for me. Television is... What does that woman say about she thinks sports is for simple-minded people and people that aren't very... that little...
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's what TV is. Just doesn't do much for me.
It's this one.
The Common Man.
No offense. I just think that sports are stupid, and anyone who likes them is just like a lesser person and has a small intellect.
Weekdays at noon.
Take out the word sports and put in TV. No, I don't really think that, because there's some there is some good TV. I like documentaries. I'm sorry, I'm old. I like Ken Burns stuff. Double T said Saturday, Denver was a Midland team missing key pieces with several flaws. Well, maybe we shouldn't be so gaga over the first round win over Denver. Well, there is that. I mean,
they still beat them in 6 without Ant for half the series.
But I can understand what he is saying. Sometimes if you beat a team that wasn't maybe really as good as you thought they were, it can make it look like you're better than you are. I mean, like even for instance, we read the quotes, and you even played one during Wild today. I don't know if it was the exact quote I used, but Hines, head coach of the Wild, said, we got to realize this is a different team we're playing now. This is, and I don't even think he was like bashing Dallas, but it just seems like Colorado is more
they play a different style, too.
A different style, and they seem to be a little bit more multifaceted.
They're up-tempo.
And so it's like, so sometimes if you sometimes you will play a team that's custom-made for you, right? And I don't know if that was the case with Denver and the Wolves, but it sure looked like it. It almost looked like if you were gonna give Minnesota one team to play, Denver would be the club.
Their best players, we had our best defensive players be able to match up with them.
That's exactly
Gobert against Jokic.
Yeah.
And McDaniels against
Murray.
Yeah,
and exactly. I think that was it. It's that old matchup. Sometimes even a really good team just has trouble with a certain club.
Yep.
And vice versa. Maybe that had something to do. We'll find out more tonight. I'm curious. I think I told you, I've not watched much of Wemby because I don't watch TV. I watched Wembanyama in the game against whoever they played in the first round. He was dominant. I mean, he was there.
They played Portland, right?
Yeah. He can flat out. He can do everything.
Well, I think the trick for the Wolves is, you mentioned they're moody.
Yeah.
They have a hatred towards the Denver Nuggets. I do wonder if they come out tonight and just they don't have the same hatred yet for the San Antonio Spurs.
Right.
And kind of give you like a wild game one performance in Colorado where they're just they're not as emotionally invested until maybe the series progresses.
Well, that's a good point, because if you'll notice, McDaniels was much more complimentary leading into this series. After the Denver series was completed, knowing that San Antonio was next, he was more complimentary of San Antonio, and maybe rightly so. Maybe he's just telling he thinks Denver's a terrible defensive team, and he has more respect for San Antonio. So should be good. More on that series, big ticket. He'll dive into it deep. That he'll talk some Wild as well. Tenby, thanks for having me.
Hey, great job.
You as well. We enjoyed a visit with you today. We're back tomorrow at 12 noon. The legendary one, Mark Rosen. I know he was back last week, but my first chance to get an opportunity.
Reunited.
Yes, to grill him since his trip to Italy. Enjoy the rest of the day. We'll talk to you tomorrow at 12 noon right here on The Fan.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good night, Minnesota!
Good night, folks. And good night, Mrs. Calabash. Wherever you are.
Welcome back to the spotlight, young man.
Listen back to any of Common Man's programs by podcasting on the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.